Okay.
عليها ملائكة غلاظ شداد لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم لا يعصون الله ما
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Brothers, sisters, welcome to another transmission of Aftari transmission from Hayes Muslim Center. I take this opportunity to welcome you during this blessed month of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah, we started doing this from the first day of Ramadan, and we had about 8-10 people, and over the period of time, alhamdulillah, we have been able to help and connect with the community. And alhamdulillah, now in our transmissions via Zoom, we connect with about 40-50 people, and then we have the same number sometime on our YouTube channel as well. So we believe, alhamdulillah, community is benefiting from these Iftar transmission. And what is the aim and what is the purpose of this this transmission? To get a message across because of this current situation, because of the current pandemic, what is happening around us, what we have been missing our masjid. You know, there's nothing, there isn't anything which can replace going physically and praying in the masjid. But this situation is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We believe good and bad taqdeer, and everything is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we accept this. And alhamdulillah, what we are trying to innovate, we are trying to find new ways to connect with the community. And we have a great technology, we have great, you know, advancement available to connect our community. And inshallah, moving forward, even after when the situation changes, we will keep using these digital platforms to connect with the community and to add a lot more value into the people's life. So I would like to thank our community for connecting us, and I would like to thank our community giving us different suggestions how we can make these sessions more valuable. So we start the program inshallah with a recitation of Quran. I would like to invite our respected Imam Maulana Arkam Sahab to read the Quran inshallah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار ربنا إنك من تدخل النار فقد أخزيته وما للظالمين من أنصار ربنا إننا سمعنا مناديا ينادي للإيمان أن آمنوا بربكم فآمنا ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah khair, brothers and sisters. Jazakallah khair, Maulana Sab. Brothers and sisters, from today, the format of program is a little bit changed. Inshallah, every day we are going to have 2 guest speakers. So we used to have our local imam, we used to have our local student from the madrasa, Brother Saqib, and sometimes we have some other people sharing some information as well. From moving forward in last 5-6 days, we would like to give maximum benefit to our community, bringing some of the best scholars in the world. I'm just going to share my screen with you who we are going to have in next couple of days time, so you can see, inshallah. If you can see the screen, let me share the other screen, give me a minute. So brothers, in next couple of days, you will see all these guest speakers joining us, inshallah, in our iftar transmission. We have, mashallah, Mufti Mungera Sahab, we have Dr. Sayyid Ahmed Inayatullah Sahab, we have Mufti Amjad Bhatt Sahab, we have Hafiz Mumtazul Haq Sahab, Maulana Abdul Majid Sahab from Crawley, Imam Suleiman Ghani Sahab, we have Brother Abu Yusra, we have Qari Hanif Jalindri Sahab from Pakistan, we have Brother Shokat Wadaj who is joining us tomorrow, and then we have a great poet of Urdu for Hamd and for Naat. He's going to join us as well, Sayyid Suleiman Gilani Sahab. So in coming days, we have a lot of speakers lined up, inshallah. I would like to encourage each one of you, inshallah, take maximum benefit, take the full advantage of in last few days of Ramadan. Ramadan passed so quickly. I remember just few days, it feel like few days ago, we started this iftar transmission, and here we are, 25th night. So brothers and sisters, inshallah, a lot of things are coming on these sessions in coming days. So the format of program today is, inshallah, today we have 2 guest speakers who are going to share their expertise, their knowledge, and their information with you. So let me share my screen with you one more time. So today, inshallah, our guest speaker is, just a minute, brothers. Today, our Imam Arkam is here with us, and we have 2 other guest speakers. So the first person who's going to speak to you is Brother Azi Aslam. I'm not going to read his bio, it's in front of you. He's been coming to these sessions every Monday, alhamdulillah, and people, they have benefited a lot. So today's topic is building new skills. You know, people, they used to say, I don't have a time. Most people, they're sitting home, and most people, they don't know what they're doing with their time. So inshallah, we are going to talk about this topic. One very important, very hot topic in Muslim community specifically was RSE, religious and relationship and sex education. And we have got an expert, Brother Yusuf Patel. He's been, mashallah, he's done so much research. He himself was a teacher, and alhamdulillah, he's been doing seminars all over the country, giving people knowledge, information, what is happening, what is coming ahead of us, and how we can prepare as a parent. So inshallah, I'm going to call Yusuf Patel at the end of the session, because I would like maximum people to join and take benefit. This session is very, very important for the parents. This is not going to be a long session. This is just an update. And inshallah, very soon in coming week, we are going to have a one full session for 40 minutes, 1 hour, and we will give a lot more information to the parents. This is something after Eid. So this just session today, later on, is just an information session. So if you're on the call, if you're listening now, this is the time you can still invite your friends, family, relatives, the people who have kids going to the school. This is our obligation. This is our responsibility to educate as a His Muslim Center, as an organization. We feel this is our responsibility to educate the parents what is happening and how we can deal with this situation. So inshallah, Brother Yusuf Patel is going to share this information. The first person I would like to invite is Brother Azi Aslam. Let me see if he's on the call. But just give me a minute. I'm just going to give him a call quickly. So the first person is Brother Aziz Aslam. He's going to talk about how you can use this time and how you can, make best use of this time. Brother Aziz, are you on the call? Hello? Hello, are you on the call? Or are you on the call now?
I'm just logging in. I've just made my call.
Okay, I'm waiting for you because you're the first speaker, so I'm waiting for you.
Oh,
Okay.
All right.
See you shortly. So while Brother Aziz is going to join, just to give you a little bit update about our fundraising as well. Alhamdulillah, we have been actively fundraising. Month of Ramadan is month of charities, month of Quran, and we have a 500,000 pound debt which we need to pay. We are requesting everybody to support us. We launched a campaign, Alhamdulillah, and we have raised over 20,000 plus, Alhamdulillah, close to 25,000, Alhamdulillah. But our target is to raise as much as we can, because we got to pay 550,000 pound, which is a debt. We got the place, Angel Pub, for 1.6 million, but 550,000 pound is the debt which we need to pay now. Let me check one more time if Brother Aziz is on the call now. Yeah, Brother Aziz is on the call now. Brother Aziz, you are unmuted.
Hello,
So
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You can start now.
Hi. Sorry about this, everyone. I was on another call and trying to finish that off. So my apologies for being late. And excuse the mess in the back. We're just sort of moving stuff around a little bit as well. Okay, so today I was going to talk about how to actually get things done from a scientific perspective. But I just wanted to. I mean, I know last week when we spoke, we were talking about the food and what have you, and I just wanted to ask if there's anybody, if you have any other, if you had any questions about the food, about eating, about the fasting, then please do ask, and we can cover that briefly as well. If there's any other questions around that.
So brothers, sisters, if you have any questions, you can write down your question in a chat box. So Brother Aziz can read the question as well. And inshallah, we'll spend a little bit time on the next 4, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, maybe to read the question if you have any question. And then inshallah, we will move on.
Okay. So I was trying to sort of put this into so part of my coaching that I do with people is I help them to sort of define their goals, but also how to achieve the goals. Now I also wanted to bring in some of the Islamic learning that I've learned over time and sort of connect the two together. So the example I use quite a lot is one of the challenges, one of the reasons many of us don't achieve our goals is because we focus on the goal. Now that might sound strange, but the reality is we end up focusing on the end goal too often, and we don't focus on the things that we need to do to get there. So for instance, if you want to, start your own business, buy a house, get a job, we focus on the end thing, but what's going to get us to the end is the things we do every day for that end thing. So the example I use from an Islamic perspective is, now for all of us, we all want to, what's our end game, which is what's our end game, which is, if from an Islamic perspective, is we want to go to Jannah.
Just 1 minute. I have received 2 messages. Some people say they can't hear, but I can tell you there's no problem at our end because I've got 2 devices separately connected, so I can hear Brother Aziz clearly. Possibly in your device, at the bottom of the screen, you will see where the mute button is. You need to click that button and it will give you the option to connect via internet dial, via internet or via internet, some sort of the message. And once you click on that one, you will be connected. So there is something possibly wrong with your device because everybody else can hear Brother Aziz clearly. Sorry, brother, continue.
Okay, yeah, sorry. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, so we all want to go to paradise. We want to go to Jannah, right? Now we've never seen it. We absolutely believe in it, but that's our aim. So if I ask anybody here, say, well, how are you going to get to Jannah? And you will tell me, well, well, hopefully you'll all tell me, it'll be, I got to do my prayers, give my zakat, be nice to people, go on hajj. There's a whole bunch of things you have to do to get to Jannah, right? And even then, you know, there are no 100% guarantees, but what you define is all the things you have to do each day to get you to Jannah. And it's the things we do every single day is what moves us forward. It's not, you know, something special that we do once a year. Fasting is once a year, but it's everything we do every single day. And reaching goals and achieving your goals is, actually is the same process. And the way I tend to work with people is I focus on just 12 weeks. So what are we going to do for 12 weeks? So people say, I have this goal for a year. I want to, lose weight. I want to be fitter, stronger, or I want to save X amount of money, or I want to, buy my next car, or whatever it is. And they'll have a time frame to do this in. But the problem is when the time frame is longer than 3 or 4 months, we sort of lose focus, and we don't do the things that we really, really want to do. And what you have to do is break it down to 12 weeks. And the way I do it is we break down, let's say you want to, let's take an example, you want to lose weight, or you want to be a certain weight and you want to lose 20 pounds or something. And we say, well, how much can we lose, and that's over a year, 20 pounds over a year. How much can you lose in 12 weeks, which is about 3 months. So we say, well, in 3 months, we can lose, 5 pounds. So the focus is to just focus on losing 5 pounds. But it's not just losing 5 pounds. It's what are the things you're going to do every single day? How much exercise you're going to do? What are you going to do with your food? What are you going to do in terms of weighing yourself? And what are you going to do, with regards to all the daily activities that are going to contribute to your losing that 5 pounds, or saving £1,000, or putting money towards a house, whatever, or actually even finding a job. How many times are you going to how many jobs are you going to apply for every single day? And if you focus on the every single day piece and do those and make those as really simply as a routine and habits every single day, you will move forward bit by bit, day by day to your goal. And that's the only way to do it. If we sometimes, well, not sometimes, we are in a world where we think, we want something today, we order it and we click it and it arrives. And I was on a call with somebody and they were talking about getting 2-hour response time 2-hour delivery from Amazon. We're so stuck into this mentality now that we think, if you want something and we want it now, and we will, if we do something today, we'll get it tomorrow. And it doesn't work that way. And even from an Islamic perspective, Allah tells us that's not the way it happens. You've got to go through the process, and you've got to go through the process and do things every single day, even on the days you don't feel like it. And that's the most important thing. When you build up some habits and routines, you will then do things even on the days, you don't feel like doing, whatever it is you need to do that day. And those are the most important days, because there are days when, we are very motivated and we feel that everything is really good, and we get on and we do things. But what really matters is the days we don't feel motivated, and we have to get out and just go out and go for that run, go for that, read that book, send that CV off. And those are the days that really matter, because that, I believe, is where it will make a difference. And going back from an Islamic perspective, the days you're feeling tired and you're not well, but you still get up and do your prayers, because that's what really matters. Okay. So I think from a very scientific approach is just to break things down very simply in terms of, take your big goal, break it down into what you can achieve in 12 weeks. And then in that 12 weeks, what will you do every single day, every single week? And I use a spreadsheet. Literally, I use a spreadsheet with some people. We write down the goal, and we write down the activity that actually that's going to make up that particular goal. And then what we'll do is we tick off every single day that we've done it. So for instance, if you like prayers, if you want to do prayers, if you write down your, from Fajr to Isha, and you literally just tick off every single day that you've done it. And I was going to just show people here. And if you've missed prayers, I might show this. If you've missed prayers and you're trying to catch up, this is what I use for myself. I don't know if you can see that. Literally, it's just the prayers on one side here, and I put the dates at the bottom, and I literally tick them off day by day as I go through, whether I've actually done the prayers that I've missed. And that is a great way of doing it, because what I'm trying to do is make sure there's no gaps in my crosses. So, every single day I will try and, catch up on my missed prayers by using a simple tool as a spreadsheet and just ticking those things off. Okay. And that shows you progress every day. And when you look at that, you can see its progress. Otherwise, you just sort of, relying on yourself, thinking that, whether you've done it or you haven't done it. So use spreadsheets if you can. And I think they really work well. And just focusing on, on the day-to-day things you can do rather than on the big thing you want to achieve. So one other analogy I want to use is it's like building a house. You can design the house, you can make it as big as you like, but if you don't put one brick in the wall every single day, the house will never get built. And what you get good at is putting the brick in that wall every single day. And if you do, if you get better at that, you'll be able to do 2 bricks every day, then 3 bricks, and so on. Before you know it, you will build a house. But it's those bricks you have to lay every single day, rather than worrying about whether the house is going to get built. You just worry about laying that one brick every single day, and you do it to the best of your ability, and you get better each day as the days go by. So that is really just a sort of very quick sort of overview of how we actually can, make things happen to us. And, I'm just sort of thinking, if you've got any questions, then please, do, ask away, and so I can sort of answer some of the questions. Any questions? No? Nope.
Okay, brothers and sisters, what I'm going to do, because last week we had a very good session with regards to science behind iftar and diet side. That was a very interesting session, and a lot of people, they got engaged. So I'm just going to give you about 10 minutes, inshallah. So in 10 minutes, I'm going to open the lines. What you can do, you will have an option to unmute yourself, ask your question, and then please mute yourself. At the minute, you cannot unmute, but I'm going to open this option for all of you. So you can unmute yourself, and then you can, once you ask your question, please mute yourself. So the lines are open now. So you need to unmute yourself, ask the question with regards to, we had with Aziz, this is the 3rd session. Yes, sorry, who's this? Say your name first.
I've got a question here. It says, Salam, can you say how we can just get started when one is a serial procrastinator? Okay, can I take that question?
Of course.
So it doesn't have a name. It just says Galaxy Tab A. So procrastination. This is a difficult one, because we all procrastinate. But when you say serial procrastinator, the question I always ask people who are procrastinating is, do you really want to achieve what you say you want to achieve? Because if you do, you won't procrastinate. So one of the questions I want you to understand is, do you really want to do what you say? And are you then prepared to put the effort in? Because if you're not, you're never going to do it. You're never going to do it. Okay, we take the typical stuff, a very materialistic thing. You want to be a millionaire. Great. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. Every time you speak to somebody, I want to be a millionaire. That's fun. The question then becomes, well, what are you prepared to do? Are you prepared to work 12 hours a day? Are you prepared to, make those phone calls? Are you prepared to contact people? Are you prepared to, go and learn something? If you're not, you will procrastinate all the time. Procrastination is, our body, our minds tries to keep us from harm, and it doesn't like us doing things which it feels that it's going to harm us. And this is where procrastination kicks in. Sometimes procrastination is also one of the reasons is you're too comfortable. Life is very comfortable. You're not worried about your food, your, the roof over your head, the clothes on your back. It's comfortable, and you really are not serious about what you want to achieve. And this is where procrastination sets in. So really ask yourself the question, how serious are you about this? Because if you're not, nothing is ever going to change. And one of our most challenging situation is, I go back to my earlier example of when we go into the next life and we've never seen Jannah, we just believe it's there, we know it's going to be there, and we believe in it. The question is what will you do? What will you do to actually get there? Are you prepared to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and do your fajr? Are you prepared to do that? If you're not, then you have only yourself to hold responsible. So I've got a question here. It says, can you advise on how to keep going if you have physical pain? Jubs, can you just expand what you mean, keep going in what way? The question is from Jubs, G-U-B-S, on how to keep going if you have physical pain. Okay, there's a cracking book, which I haven't got to close to me. It's called Can't Hurt Me. I think I'll just type it here. It's called Can't Hurt Me. Oh, sorry, my cursor's, sorry, I pressed the thing. Now, this book is about mental toughness. Now, okay, this book is about mental toughness. When you physically have got pain, the question, first of all, is that pain stopping you from doing what you want to do? And if it is, you then need to go and get, go and see a doctor, go and address the challenge, whatever that physical pain is. If the pain is just mental, and there's a lot of science now that proves that a lot of the pain that we have, and a lot of the procrastination, and a lot of the reasons we can't run as far as we can, a lot of it is in our head, it's in our brain. And that book I mentioned, Can't Hurt Me, is a journey of somebody who basically didn't want to do stuff, but ended up now, and if you ever read the book, he's now one of the toughest guys in the world. I mean, he runs 200 miles in races, just non-stop. And he goes physical pain, and he has stories where the book is called Can't Hurt Me. It's just above the it's in the chat as well. And this guy had physical pain. He became an American Navy SEAL, which was like the SAS in the UK. And as he was going through the testing, he damaged his knee. He damaged his knee to the point that it was physically causing him pain. And but he wanted to get through the exam because it meant so much to him. And he literally used to tape up his knee and his ankle, put socks on them to keep them covered. And he would go and run 30 miles with busted knees and busted ankles. Now he said it was very painful, but he went through the pain. That is the difference between, people who are mentally strong. And sadly, I think, as a society, we've lost our mental strength in the society we live in. It's a lot easier society that we have. Everything comes to us very easily, and we lose, we don't have mental toughness anymore. When things go wrong, we break down. Even from an Islamic perspective, that's wrong. We shouldn't break down, because Allah only gives us the test that he believes we can deal with. But we just don't seem to have the mental capacity anymore. And I think we need to go back and put ourselves in difficult situations. And one of the reasons I bring this up is it's only in difficult situations do we actually change and get stronger and better. If we just do the same thing every single day, we'll remain soft and easy. Life will be easy. We don't change. And when you've been in tough situations, that's when you change, when things change for you. And you have to put yourself. So I go back to, some of the, if you hate running, and again, go back to the book, Can't Hurt Me. In the book, the guy hates running. His name's David Goggins, by the way. Hates running. But every single day he goes out for a run for 7 miles. It doesn't matter whether he's that's the book. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether he's slept for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 6 hours. He goes and he does that run every single day. And I've seen interviews with him, and he says, I hate running, but I do it because it's difficult for me. And this guy hated swimming, but you know what? He swam, and he was in the American Navy SEALs, which are, they spent 50% of their time in water. He said, I hate swimming, but every single day I swam. I spent time in the water because it's difficult to do. So he did the stuff which is difficult for him every single day. And even today now, and he's in his 40s now, I think mid 40s, late 40s, every single day he goes running. He said, I run. It doesn't matter whether I've got my knee hurts or my ankle hurts or my shoulder hurts. I go running. He said, because that is what gets me and creates my mental toughness. I hope that helps. Any other questions?
Brother, sister, we have 5 minutes. So if you have any question, you can unmute, you can ask the question, or you can type the question.
There's another book which I also would recommend, is called The 5-Second Rule. It's called the, I'm going to type it in here, The 5-Second Rule. And this is by a lady called Mel Robbins, and she's one of these inspirational speakers. And she's had her problems in her life, but she uses the 5 seconds. She uses something for herself. Then she wrote this book about the 5-second rule. And what that is about is saying, when you want to do something, and I think probably maybe helps with the procrastination, is you count backwards. You count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you get up and you go and do the thing that you said you're going to do. Because every time you give your brain time to think about something, it will convince you not to do it. It will convince you not to do it.
I just want to, vouch this, because I've got the book here.
Oh, you've got the book there.
Yeah, it helped me. Honestly, 5-second rule helped me a lot with regards to the procrastination. It is so amazing. Once you start practicing this, I used to have 5, 6 alarms on my phone in the morning. 1 goes, 2nd goes, 3rd goes. Now what I do, I have only 1 alarm, and I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you get up.
Yes, exactly. It works.
It works. Alhamdulillah, I mean, it works. And these are little tips, and they're not difficult to do. And just on the alarm thing, and I think I mentioned this one on the very first talk I did. If you get it, everything we do every single day creates a habit. So if you get used to sort of, when the alarm goes off and you put your hand over and you hit the snooze button, then you hit the snooze button again, you're actually creating a habit, and that habit is not good for you. And that's why we end up with habits. So, you come from work, and first thing you do, I'll guarantee you this, when you come in from work, you will go and hang up your coat in the same place you hang up your coat every time. You put your keys in the same place you put your keys every time. You'll put your briefcase in the same place you put your briefcase every time. Why? Because you've created habits. And it is very difficult then to start breaking those habits. And I said to you, we can't break habits. What we do is you create new ones. That's the way to do it. But read the book, Can't Hurt Me. Read the book, 5-Second Rule. And I'm going to put a third one in here called The 12-Week Year. And this is there's the 12 year, and that's another book where, actually, funny enough, I've got it here right in front of me because I was talking to somebody else about it today. So you can see it's 12-week year. And this is where I use the 12-week process, where I take the 12-week methodology and I break down the goal, and we break it down to 12 weeks. We then create the activities, and then we create a spreadsheet, and then we tick it every single day. And before I came on here, I was on a coaching call, and that's exactly what I do with my particular client. And we just go through and see how well he's done. And, and then we adjust and adapt depending on whether it's working or not working, but keep focused on the goal that he needs to achieve in the 12 weeks.
I believe somebody wants to ask a question.
Yes.
Is there someone who wants to ask a question? Okay. So I just allow maybe 1 or 2 minutes more. If you have any question, you can ask the questions.
Any questions? If we have any questions, the last week we were talking about fasting and what have you, and I just wanted to touch on something which somebody had mentioned, and it came to me afterwards as well, was we touched this thing on about insulin and how to keep yourself motivated. Question. Shakir Afzal, how to keep yourself motivated. So I'll answer that question. I don't rely on motivation. Motivation and inspiration are things, these things come and go. They're like the beach, they're like the sea. They'll come in and then they'll go out. Motivation is the worst thing to rely on. The only thing motivation is good for is to help you set your big goal. Once you've set your big goal, habits, routines, processes, discipline is what will get you there. You can be motivated to get to Jannah, but if you don't get up to pray every single day, because that, unless you create that as a habit, the motivation isn't going to get you there, because we will have days which are good and we'll have days which are not so good. So motivation I tell people don't rely on it. It's not something to focus on. You build habits, routines, and disciplines. Read the 5-second rule, the 12-week year, and Can't Hurt Me, and build disciplines and habits. That's the way to make things happen.
Okay, brothers, sisters, I have the details, the contact details of Brother Azi. If you have any more questions, you can always come back to me, and we will bring him back after Ramadan now, and we will have a little bit longer session, maybe 1 hour, 2 hour session, like in a workshop style online. So in the comfort of your own home, you can sit down and you can gain knowledge and you can ask the question as well. This is something planned we will, later on after Ramadan as well. So Brother Azi, if you want to conclude with something, then I'll move on to the next speaker.
I just want to conclude, because it's the fasting month. So I just want to say, in this month you've done, the first thing is recognize, prior to this, maybe we didn't get up and pray every day, 5 times a day. We didn't read the Quran. We didn't do, all this stuff, and we ate too much. But you know what? Just look at yourself and see how much you can achieve. If you've been getting up in the morning, doing your 5 prayers, doing the Quran, by yourself, doing your own tarawihs, and being kind to people, helping in the house, and also fasting. Look at what you can do. Just look at the capacity, and I'll tell you now, what you've touched into is probably only about 20-30% of what you're able to achieve. And I know this because I've seen people do this. You're just scratching the surface of your abilities, your capabilities, and what you can really, really do. But at the end of this 30 days, pick one thing that you are going to stick to, and make that part of your life, whether it's, praying the 5 times, whether it's reading every single day, whether it's doing 2 fasts a week. It doesn't matter pick one thing first. And for the next 6 months, keep doing that over and over and over again. Make it part of your life, then pick something else.
Thanks a lot.
All the best.
Yes, thanks a lot, Brother Aziz. It was great to have you for the last couple of weeks, every Monday, and we gained a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. And I think one conclusion we all agree: consistency is the key to anything, whatever you want to achieve. The most important lesson I have learned in my life: if you are consistent, whatever you want to achieve, whether it's reading, whether it's you want to have a good health, or eating, or a career, or job, or business, whatever it is, you can always, if you're consistent, you can beat some of the big, the talent out there. And this is something personally I have witnessed many times. But we will have more session. We've got the expert, Brother Aziz, we've got the brother expert, Brother Abu Yusra, who's going to join us on Wednesday as well, inshallah. So brother, thanks a lot for being our guest, sharing a lot of information. It was great to have you on these webinars.
Can I just say one last thing, and just on what you've said about the consistency is really important, but the consistency on the day you don't feel like doing it, because there'll be many days like that. That's what will keep you going. Or even on the days you don't feel like doing whatever it is you've chosen to do, get up and do it.
Thanks a lot, brother. Brother, sister, we move on to the next speaker. But before I move on, this transmission is live on YouTube as well. So you can type Hayes Muslim Center, hayesmuslimcenter.org.uk, and you can click on live streaming, and you can watch this information there as well. One message I would like to pass on to all of you. there has been, we had this problem, we had this situation, what is happening outside world, the mosques are closed, but out of this bad, there's good things, which alhamdulillah allowed us a lot of masjids and a lot of our community to get used to these technologies and reach to more people. I personally believe because of this situation, we have been able to reach those who we haven't been able to connect with. So inshallah, we are going to make a lot of investment in these digital things, inshallah. Social media, we will have a lot more session, training, seminars, webinars, workshop on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. So I would like to encourage each one of you, inshallah, subscribe to our channel, which is Hayes Muslim Center on YouTube, on Twitter, and you will always be updated with all the program. We are going to have regular sessions, inshallah, different training session, even after Ramadan. So the next person I would like to invite, he has been our guest a few years ago, and he has delivered very important information with regards to religious relationship and sex education, which has been a very, very important and hot topic for last 2-3 years. A lot of people, a lot of parents, they are confused about it. What are the rights they have and what they can do and what they can't do. So there has been some developments in last couple of months' time. So I've got a brother who is an expert on this field. He has delivered, I believe, hundreds of lectures all over the country. He has done a lot of research. He himself was a teacher, and he has got a hands-on experience what as a Muslim community we need to do, because we feel this is our responsibility to know and how to deal with this situation within the law. So this is something he's going to give us some updates. And as I said earlier, inshallah, in coming days, we will have a full seminar or maybe a workshop with the brother. So I would like to invite, first of all, I would like to thank him because I know he's a very busy person. And I would like to invite brother Yusuf Patel, inshallah. So you can unmute and you can start the conversation, inshallah. And brother, you have 20 minutes, inshallah. Jazakallah, brother.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, wassalatu wassalam ala Sayyidina Muhammad bin Abdullah, Khatamul Anbiya wal Mursaleen. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, ku anfusakum wa ahlikum nara. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, during this month, we're talking about connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, reconnecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, reconnecting with the Quran, the greatest book of guidance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that was revealed to any people. And within this month, I think we need to think about also what role we play in the upbringing of our children. Because although I'll talk a bit about what is going to be taught in schools from September 2020, just literally 6 months from now, but I want us to keep one eye on that, but also keep a focus on what are we doing as a community? What are we doing as individual parents to raise our children to be the best they can be in terms of worshippers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in terms of people who will be a credit to us as parents, both in this life and in the next. So very briefly, I attended Hayes Muslim Center. It's about 8 months ago, actually. And I spoke a bit about what changes are going to be happening to your children's education in September 2020. So I want to briefly cover that. I want to talk about what you can do in terms of engaging in the consultation processes that are going to be happening in your schools, and just some things to keep an eye out for. This is a very brief summary of the things that we should be keeping an eye out for. So in primary schools from September 2020, they're going to be teaching a new subject called relationships education. Now, this is a subject which you will not be able to withdraw from, but you still have the ability to shape in some respects. Now, if a school decides to teach, if a primary school decides to teach sex education, you will still be able to withdraw from that subject. So you have the full right to withdraw in a primary school from any sex education that school delivers. But relationship education is a new statutory subject, and you will not be able to withdraw from that. But what a school has to do, what a primary school has to do between now and September is to consult you as parents. Yeah, so consult you about how they teach these subjects, what resources they will use, because although the government has set out a curriculum for teaching relationship education, there is no set resources, there's no set books, there's no set programs, but rather a school has the right to decide this, but they also have to involve parents in the process, and that's where consultation takes place. Now, I'm going to talk a bit about secondary schools as well, and then I'm going to come back to the concept of consultation, because there's some things that we've got to keep our eye on, otherwise we're going to lose opportunities. So in secondary schools, they will be teaching a subject called relationships and sex education. So in all secondary schools from September 2020, they will have all secondary schools will have to teach relationships and sex education. Now, this is a statutory subject that all secondary schools will have to teach.
Brother, just a minute. Let me unmute everybody. What you go to do, you go to unmute one more time, because I noticed some people there. So I'm going to restrict everybody not to unmute. So you can unmute yourself and start again.
Okay. Okay, so everybody can hear me okay? All right, good. So in terms of in secondary schools, there is going to be a new subject called relationship and sex education. Now, you will not be able, schools cannot decide whether they teach that subject or not. But when they teach that subject, there's two things that we need to bear in mind. One is that the sex education aspect of relationship and sex education, you have the right to request withdrawal from. Yeah. So you can ask the school to withdraw your children from that aspect. Now, the whole subject is also subject to consultation. So a school has to ask you for your views about how they organize the subject, what resources they use. They have to ask for your views about that. Now, what I want to concentrate on really in this short time is about consultation. Because as I said, schools must be consulting you and asking for your views about how they teach these subjects. Now, I've been speaking to lots of parents throughout Ramadan and before Ramadan. Now, before schools all schools closed down because of the COVID-19 situation, some schools were engaged in consultation with you as parents, and other schools had planned to start that process. And lots of schools had not completed the process of consultation. And so there was a question mark as to whether schools will be able to consult parents and be in a position to teach these subjects from September. Now, what you need to do as parents is to keep your eye on the ball, because when schools were functioning, it was much more easier to determine at what stage schools were at in the consultation process. Now, it's very, very important that as parents, you are speaking to your children's school and asking them, where are you in the current consultation process? Are you, how are you going to ensure that my views will be taken into account, given the fact that the school is not functioning at a day-to-day level? But just because the school is not functioning, it doesn't mean that the school has not got the capacity to take part in consultation. Because I've spoken to parents who've said that one parent, for example, in a secondary school said that the school emailed him as a parent and said, look, we've drafted this policy, this RSE policy, and we want your views about this policy. Now, the issue was that the school gave about 3 days notice for that parent to respond in a meaningful way. So I said, go back to the school and say, is this what your consultation process involves? Giving parents 3 days notice. So I asked him a series of questions that you need to ask your school about what is missing from the policy, because one of the main problems is in both the relationship education policy and the relationship and sex education policy that a school writes, is that a lot of the detail is absent from there. Things like, what is a school going to be teaching in these subjects? Are there going to be people that are brought in from outside that are going to be involved in teaching the subject to my children? What is the process by which I can request withdrawal from the subject? And what is the concrete process by which the school is going to consult with parents. And most of these policies are lacking these very simple details. So you've got to then ask these questions. So as part of the consultation process, if a school asks you to be involved, really ask, the main thing you want to ask about is what resources are you going to be using in this subject? And can I have a look at them? Can I view them? Now, in the past, we were talking about whether there's whether you should choose whether you should oppose certain resources or whether you should promote certain resources in schools. Now, we've come to the conclusion, looking at a whole range of resources, that there are no absolutely perfect resources that a school could plan to use, because there's always good parts and bad parts. So the main thing when you look at resources is to actually focus on the parts, the aspects of the resources that you're not happy with, whether that's explicit resources, explicit materials, whether there's things that a school is using that goes beyond the statutory requirements. And you can look at the statutory requirements. I can on our website on sreexamined.org, all of the requirements are there. But when you look at the resources, really ask detailed questions about the resources. And if there are any aspects of the resources that you're not happy with, then make that very clear to the school and say, look, I'm not happy that this resource is too explicit for this age group. Or I don't believe that this aspect of the curriculum should be taught in year 4. Maybe it should be taught in year 6, because the government hasn't set out in which year groups to teach these aspects. So you have the right to feed back into this process. One thing that's very important to note and really important to ask the school about is, are there any external organizations that are going to be brought into the school to take part in the teaching? Because a lot of the flashpoints, a lot of the issues that have happened in schools, a lot of the controversies that have happened in schools is as a result of external organizations being brought into the school to teach aspects of the resources. And a lot of these organizations are really, they do not have the values of you as a parent, as a Muslim parent, or any parent who has concerns about teaching children values. They don't have these things in even in their consideration. They'll teach what they want because they think that our children should be subject to their social engineering process. They should be subject to the values that they want to impose on your children. So really, the best thing to do is to get the school to say, we will not include any external organizations in teaching any aspect of our relationship education in primary school or relationship and sex education in secondary school. So be very clear about that. And if they do not allow that, then just do some research into the organizations that they want to bring in, and advise them on maybe organizations which are far better to bring it in than and try and minimize the harm that some of these organizations will present. Now, what I think so the key points that you need to take away from today is email your children's school and ask at what level, at what stage are they at within the process of the consultation process. How far have they gotten in that process? And ask the school, are they, if they do not believe that they're going to be able to have a meaningful process of consultation before September, can they write to the Department of Education and say, we recommend that you postpone the implementation of RE/RSE until a point in time where we are able to engage in a meaningful consultation with parents. And some schools have done this, but the more schools that do this, the better. That will put pressure upon the Department of Education to ensure that this is delayed and gives us more time to input into that process. Now, I know there's lots of questions here, so maybe I want to start taking some of these questions as well. So the first question is from Zed. What if they use the science curriculum to meet their agenda? How do we address this? That's a very good question, because in the past that has happened. Schools have tried to implement aspects of non-statutory teaching, so things which the government hasn't said schools have to teach, into statutory subjects like science, for example. Now, what is very important to get the school to be very clear in their policy, especially in a secondary school, because in a secondary school, relationship and sex education is statutory. but the curriculum requirements are all interspersed, are all together in one place. There isn't, the government hasn't said this is what is relationship education. These are the elements of relationship education, and these are the elements of sex education in a secondary school. So ask the school to be very clear upon what it defines as relationship education and sex education, and what it defines in terms of the requirements of science. Yeah. So if you can get the school to be very clear from the outset on what the boundaries are between the different elements of RSE and of science, then you'll be in a better position to challenge the school if they go beyond the statutory requirements in any subject. But if they do, it's very important to complain and get other parents on board, and to speak to the school and say, look, this is not what is required. Sometimes schools sometimes schools will rely upon the ignorance of parents or the lack of knowledge of parents. So the best approach to this is to be acquainted, very, very well acquainted with what the requirements actually are, so that you can challenge them. What if a school or local authority refuse to show you the content? That is not acceptable. A school cannot refuse to show you the content. If it does, then say, can you put that in writing? Make sure you have that refusal in writing. Yeah. Don't allow that just to be a verbal comment that they make when you make a verbal request. Yeah. So some of these requests have to be in written form so that you've got evidence of the response of the school. So make sure you get that in writing, and then you can complain using the school's internal complaints procedure, and then you can escalate that complaint to the local authority if it's a community school, or to Department of Education if it's, for example, an academy, or there's regional commissioners for schools as well. And I can help you with some of these issues as well. If a school ever says that to you, then I will help you as well, inshallah.
Okay, but there's one question. LGBT is an issue. I don't want it to be normalized to the children. Our school has introduced this already from last September 2019. There was no meaningful consultation. Language barrier for parents is another issue, and the school take that as their advantage and go ahead introducing things that are not suitable. This is one of the questions from somebody.
Yeah, I'll try. Okay, that's quite a long comment, but
Yeah.
I'm trying and try and extract the question from that. So maybe it's, what do I do if a school has introduced content which I'm not happy with, and there's been no meaningful consultation? So there's a couple of issues here. One is that lots of schools will deliver LGBT content under what they call the Equalities Act. They will say, look, there's lots of children from different backgrounds in our school, and we've got to make sure that all children are treated equally, no matter what their background is. And obviously, we will say no children should be victimized on account of their background. Absolutely. No children should be bullied. Absolutely. But if a school is starting to teach values in a way which it goes beyond what teaching actually allows. So they start to say to children that, look, you're a Muslim, but there's nothing wrong with you being Muslim and gay. Or they say that you're Zainab, but you could be Abdullah if you wanted to. Now, when a school starts to engage in teaching of that kind, that goes beyond what is allowed. That goes into indoctrination. And so these sort of things need to be challenged. So if, for example, a school says, look, there's children from different backgrounds, and we've got to reflect the backgrounds of the children in each of the classrooms. If a child in a classroom is brought up by two women who they consider to be their mothers, then a school will say to a child, that John has two mothers, or Bob has two fathers. Now, if a school just says that as a factual reality, that's one thing. But if a school says, wouldn't you like to have two fathers or two mothers? Or if a school says, imagine if you were to marry your best friend and his name is John, yeah, and your son's name is Abdullah, so it's almost a same-sex marriage. So if a school goes beyond these issues, then we start engaging with schools to say this is not acceptable, yeah. And we need to start. But one of the problems has been that on a whole host of these types of issues, the government hasn't been very clear about what a school can and cannot do. And a lot of these lobby groups have unfortunately intervene in the process and muddied the waters and actually said, look, schools have to teach this. So we've got to, first of all, have a very polite engagement with schools and be very clear with them about what we want to do. Recently, over the last few months, a few months ago, we wrote some guidance for schools, for primary and secondary schools, which we're going to release. It got stopped because of the coronavirus issues, but we're going to release that, and you can send that to your children's school to say, these are some of the issues that we're concerned about. So even if there are language barriers, you can say, look, as a community, we have certain concerns, and they've been articulated in these documents that we're putting forward to you. We want to start a process by which you engage with our concerns in a real and meaningful way. So please take these and have a look at them. And if you want, we can also intervene in some respect and try and engage the school if a school is not listening to parents.
Okay, brothers, shall I say? Okay, brothers, sisters, I know on this topic, there are always a lot of questions. There's a lot of information available on brothers' Facebook page as well, which you can explore. But what we really want to do, this session was just to give you an idea how serious this issue is. Unfortunately, some of the parents in the Muslim community, we don't consider this serious, but this is a very, very serious topic, and we need to educate ourselves. There are a lot of things which we can do. So what we are going to do, inshallah, in coming weeks, immediately after Ramadan, inshallah, we will consult with the brother, and we will have an online session, inshallah, via Zoom on YouTube, and we will have a lot more time, inshallah, maybe an hour session. So you will have an opportunity to ask the question as well. This is something in a pipeline. So brother, if I ask you to conclude this, inshallah, and then we will move on to the next session.
Yeah, so really the key point is that we need to, as parents, take the lead in ensuring that we are the key people to raise our children with our values. So there'll be some issues that we can do in schools, and we can stop the schools from doing certain things, and we can raise our concerns with schools and try and shape the way they do certain things. But there are other things that we may not be able to do. Living in a society which is a secular liberal society, where the value systems are changing day by day, and they are moving further and further from the values that we want to teach our children. A lot of times we've got to think about, what do we discuss with our children to ensure that they understand our values correctly, and they understand that other people may have other values that they live their lives by, but those aren't the values that we live by, and those aren't the values of a Muslim. So we need to start engaging with our children based on these issues as well. As I mentioned in the messages, if there are any specific questions that you want help with, any issues that you have in schools, please feel free to email me at yusuf@sraislamic.org, and I'll send you whatever you need, and I'll help you in whatever level I'm able. Jazakumullah khairan for attending, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable you to all raise your children in a manner which is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and raise children who will be a credit to you for your dunya and most especially your akhirah. Jazakumullah khairan.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Yusuf. I really appreciate your time on a very short notice. Alhamdulillah, you agreed to come and share some information with us. And I know how hard you've been working. I've been, alhamdulillah, following you for the last 2-3 years. And the number of seminars and number of cities and number of organizations you are helping, it's countless. The reward is only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So thanks a lot for joining us today. And inshallah, coming weeks, we will have more session with you. And brothers, sisters, if you have any question, brother has already shared his email address and his Facebook information, but all of you are on this call. I can share my number as well. You can drop me a message, inshallah, and you can join over WhatsApp, Telegram, the page, and inshallah we will share a lot more information on these channels. So jazakallah for joining us today, brother. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. So brother, sister, we move on. I'm just mindful of the time. Today, iftar in Hayes, in our area, local masjid, is the 8:57. So all of you, wherever you are, please follow your local masjid. So our iftar is at 8:57. So before we move to the dua, I'm just going to request Brother Tahir Ewan to just update you. I have all the information, but I would like Brother Tahir to update you on the fundraising side. Inshallah, I'm going to unmute Brother Tahir and he'll share some information regarding fundraising. Tahir, over to you.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, brothers and sisters. Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank our two guests as well, Brother Azizi, who's a performance and change coach, excellent advice, these are the sort of brothers we need in our community, advising our community to move forward. And of course, Brother Yusuf Patel, I know him very well through various sessions that is held on SRA. Can I just say that in Hayes alone, we completed those consultation cards. We completed over 5,000, and our West London Mosque Forum, we completed 20,000, and they were personally delivered to the Department of Further Education by Rashid Bhatti. So we were very active when the whole subject became a hot potato, and it still is. But what the shame is, parents don't take it seriously. They rely on their laurels, and they sit back till the day comes and they say, oh my God, what's happening? So I think we need to revive this, as Yambai said, by Brother Patel coming, maybe having a session. If the masjids are open, we'll have a live session in the masjid, inshallah. Coming back to the fundraising, today is an important day because we have two slots, prime slots with launch good in the States. We raised over £11,000 on our front launch, which was on the 15th, the 15th of Friday, and then we've not Friday, I think that was the 10th, and we've got another one today, still running until midnight. We've raised something like £5,000, not as much as we raised before. So the opportunity on this blessed night is still there. Some of us have been bombarding everybody. Please, at least donate £10. If you already got the app set up, you already got your card details on there, all you have to do is open it up and press 10, 20, 15, 30, £50. You don't have to do anything. Text literally, and you get an email message, and you get a nice thank you very much message from them as well. But what is important is actually doing it. You know, we talk about procrastination, right? People say, oh, I'll do it later, or I'll do it later. And the day is coming to an end, and we're going to be opening our iftar soon as well, and soon it'll be midnight. You procrastinate. Do not do that. Just say, count backwards, like the brother said, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press the button on the link and donate your money. It's very, very important. We need to reach the target today. We need to reach £25,000. We're only £4,000 away. There's about 70 plus people, and I don't know how many on YouTube. If you all donated 10, 15, 20 pounds, you know, we would achieve this today. Today we could do it. So everybody say, inshallah, we'll do it for the sake of Allah. To please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we'll do it. So just go and do it. I've done it. My family's done it. You can do it as well, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair, Tyree. Brother, sister, before I move on, I'm just going to make one request. We have about 57 people here, and we've got about 20 people watching on YouTube as well. So, Tyree, if you can mute yourself. So all I'm going to request you, please, I need 5 people, only 5 people from this call today who commit to give £500 each. But the £500 for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, £500 for turning this pub into the masjid. Pub, there was a haram things going on, and now name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be read there. So do we have few people on this call out of 57? You know, you can get this £500 from where? Talk to 10 of your friends, family, relative, cousins, work colleague, ask each one of them to give 20 or 30 pounds, and you can raise this £500. So if I ask who is the first person today on a chat box to give me his or her name and contact number. So we need only 5 people to say, brother, I'm very mindful of the time. This is a very blessed time. This is a time for dua as well. We are doing the dua. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you everything, whatever you want. But at the same time, I'm asking 5 people to type their name and number and make a commitment. Inshallah, you will give £500 in next 5, 6, 7 days time. So let's see who's going to send his name first on the chat box. How many times, brothers, sisters, we spend £500? Many times. You do a birthday party and we end up spending more than this. You have a dine out for any function and program and we end up spending this type of money. So, hey, you got opportunity today, give this money for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So do we have few names who can give £500, inshallah? I'm just going to ask one more time, and then I'll ask Imam and leave it with you, and leave this chat box open for next 15 minutes. And I hope, inshallah, few of you during this blessed time, inshallah, come back and give £500. So Maulana, I'll come over to you, inshallah. You can start the dua, and I'll keep my own eyes on a chat box.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma lakal hamdu kulluh wa lakal shukru kulluh wa lakal mulku kulluh wa ilayka yarji'ul amru kulluh. Allahumma la uhsi thanaan alayka anta kama athnayta ala nafsik اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. يا رب صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا واخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. فانصرنا على القوم الظالمين. اللهم ربنا اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. ربنا اصرف عنا عذاب جهنم إن عذابها كان غراما إنها ساءت مستقرا ومقاما. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. ربي زدني علما. رب اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا كلها دقها وجلها علانيتها وسرها أولها وآخرها ظاهرها وباطنها. اللهم إنا نتوب إليك من المعاصي كلها لا نرجع إليها أبدا. اللهم مغفرتك أوسع من ذنوبنا ورحمتك أرجى عندنا من أعمالنا. اللهم إنك عفو كريم رحيم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا كريم. اللهم إنك عفو كريم رحيم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا كريم. اللهم أجرنا من النار. اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة. اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة ونعوذ بك من سخطك وغضبك والنار. ونعوذ بك من سخطك وغضبك والنار. اللهم أعط نفوسنا تقواها. اللهم أعط نفوسنا تقواها وزكها فأنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها. اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين. اللهم إن قلوبنا ونواصينا وجوارحنا بيدك لم تملكنا منها شيئا فإذا فعلت ذلك بنا فكن أنت ولينا واهدنا إلى سواء السبيل. اللهم طهر قلبي من النفاق وعملي من الرياء ولساني من الكذب وعيني من الخيانة فإنك تعلم خائنة الأعين وما تخفي الصدور. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا واسعا وعملا متقبلا وشفاء من كل داء. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع وقلب لا يخشع وعين لا تدمع ودعاء لا يستجاب له. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وآله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Jazakallah khair, brother. This is the time for iftar. May I ask Zain to give azan today? Zain, are you ready?
Yes, yes.
Muted.
Yes, Zain, go. Zain, go. Yeah.
MashaAllah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala falah. حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
MashaAllah,
MashaAllah,
Zain.
Zain. MashaAllah. very
Beautiful, amazing, alhamdulillah. And we dua, inshallah, we make dua, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you hafiz and alim. Jazakallah khair.
Inshallah.
And your prize is due, inshallah. As soon as masjid is
Inshallah.
open, we'll give you a certificate and we'll give you the prize, inshallah.
Jazakallah.
Jazakallah.
Jazakallah. Brothers and sisters, I know you're fasting now. Make dua for us. And inshallah, I'm going to leave this box open 15 minutes. And I hope, inshallah, we will have 5 people making commitment of £500. And I tell you one thing, brothers and sisters, you just make intention and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it easy for you. So the chat box is open for you.